Dr. Gajar, I don't think we can thank you and your team enough for what you have done to welcome us to Durban and to South Africa. Really, all of us should thank the Zadna team when you see them. They have done a remarkable job welcoming us to this great country. Thank you, Dr. Gajar. I want to address particular thanks also to Dr. Ilham Ibrahim, who flew from Addis for just this morning to be with us. This is an extremely important visit by her, and it's a sign of a new era for how we work with international organizations. She has been immensely supportive, not just as our host in our recent multi-stakeholder internet governance works that we did in Addis Ababa, but also along the way. Anytime we had questions or issues in Africa, we know to call her, and she's always been supportive. Thank you for being here today, and for the words you said. Thank you. I remotely thank Dr. Touré. Hamadoun and I have started, as you know, our own safari, our own little journey a few months ago. And I really appreciate, first of all, I wish him a quick recovery. He was planning to be here with us, but at doctor's recommendation, he sent a video instead. But he sends all of you, and I spoke with him again yesterday, he sends each one of us his greetings. And you heard, I think, very clearly his new tone and his working tone with us that is extremely welcome. And we thank him for that. And Lukonga is, quite frankly, I'm certain, going to be the second African president of ICANN one day, given that I take that honor before you. But I have a feeling this man is going to go to great places. His poise, his calm, but more importantly, what he's done is really remarkable. Thank you, Lukonga, for coming to stage. I want to also welcome and thank the members of our community. I will start with the leaders of our supporting organizations and advisory committees with whom I continue to spend time and learn from. Thank you for your time, for being here, for bringing your communities together. I want to thank my board of directors, every one of you, for the confidence you continue to give me to be at your service here, and especially my partner, my boss, my guide, Mr. Crocker. Steve is truly the inspiration that keeps me going. The inner energy that he has is remarkable, and it's on it that I rely to keep going and to keep doing this job every day. Thank you, Steve. And so to all of you, our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I have 3 quick points. First, Africa. I don't know if you feel it, but we're in Africa. It's a great continent. The numbers are amazing. This is now the fastest growing continent on the planet by GDP. It is also a young continent. It's 1 billion people today. In another generation, it'll be 2 billion people. It's growing faster than Asia even. It is a continent where the growth in income is remarkable. 30% growth in real income over the last decade. The decade before that, income had shrunk 10%. Secondary school enrollment up by 50% in the last few years. These are fundamentally different numbers about Africa. Everything, artists, designers, innovators are thriving in the hope of Africa. And it is showing. It is showing. I didn't even know that Nigeria alone produces more movies than all of the American studios. There is a lot going on in Africa right now. You just need to watch and see. I think most importantly, as The Economist said recently, the engines of growth in Africa are humming right now. And unlike previous growth spurts in Africa, this time it seems very sustainable. The amount of foreign direct investment in Africa is huge right now. and I think we need to watch. So for those of us living in parts of the world where growth is not that forthcoming, Africa is going to pull us up. Africa now is the continent we can look to grow. But these are the numbers. There's another thing about Africa. Africa has a great spirit that does not translate in numbers. It's a hopeful spirit. It's the spirit that we see in Madiba. I had the great pleasure with my wife on Thursday to go to Soweto, to the township. And we spent time in the township walking around and visiting the home of Madiba, Nelson Mandela, visiting across the street, literally, the home of Desmond Tutu, 2 Nobel Peace Prize winners on one block, the only place on the planet. Quite remarkable. But what we saw in Soweto was the spirit of Africa, the spirit of Madiba, a great spirit. And it's a spirit that we all need at this time. So I want to ask all the Africans in the room to stand up so we can give you a hand for this great continent you invited us to. Please stand. Thank you. Thank you for welcoming us. My second point is evident by what you saw in the last hour. ICANN is revisiting how we engage with international organizations. And our fruitful relationships in the last few months with the African Union, with the ITU, are evidence that these relationships are complex, but vital. I think we have come to a clear understanding that we cannot erase each other. I grew up in Beirut, where 17 factions spent 15 years trying to erase each other. And after many years of pain and loss, everyone came to the conclusion, we cannot erase each other. We work with each other. And this is the spirit of our engagement with the IGOs. We need each other. In fact, we share common values and common responsibilities to the public interest. And the public expects us to meet these challenges and do this well together. And in fact, this morning, I'd like to announce that in an effort to work closer with all these international organizations and NGOs, ICANN will open the next engagement center in Geneva. And Dr. Tarek Kamel will be moving there with his family. And we wish him well, to support our engagement with the international organizations. This is an important time for us, and I will later speak about all the new engagement centers we're building, but Geneva is critical, and we need to be there. In a recent visit I did to Geneva, I had a chance to meet all the WTO representatives in Geneva, and it was remarkable, because half of them had never heard of ICANN. Half of them did not appreciate how ICANN can engage in their own thinking, in their own missions. And we will work through them and with the GAC always, and through our activities with you, to ensure that the multi-stakeholder model is understood and appreciated for what it is and what it does. My last point is one of personal growth in understanding the multi-stakeholder model. Look, the unity of our transnational multi-stakeholder model is delicate. It's delicate. If we do not maintain open, fair processes, that delicate balance is fragile. We have to maintain it carefully. I have learned this and continue to learn this every day here. It is the most precious thing we offer the world. We must empower the weakest voices in this balance. We must do that. If we do not do that, that fragile, delicate balance is hampered, and with it, our legitimacy. This is the heart of our legitimacy. And the heart of our legitimacy, as I understood in the last year, is the thousands of volunteers, many of whom are here, who keep that engine running. They're quiet. They give up their families sometimes. They give up their time. Many of them come here on their own dime to volunteer their time year after year for ICANN. When people ask me, how do you get all this work done with a couple hundred people? I say, a couple hundred people are nothing. They're just the oil that keeps our volunteer engine working. You are ICANN. We are just here to support you. And I want to salute the volunteers of ICANN who for over a decade are still here and making this multi-stakeholder engine the greatest governance engine in the transnational sphere today. And to you, I give a hand. I recently in Portugal said something that was just spur of the moment, but I will repeat it here because the more I think about it, the more it makes sense to me. Most governance models work vertically, either entirely top-down, few of them truly bottom-up. But what I'm discovering is that at ICANN, it's neither. We're actually a much more horizontal model than people think. It's all about building lateral relationships with changing interests and figuring out how to keep that balance. And that takes much more talent and much more generosity of spirit. This horizontal lateral model is the true transnational model that will work. Top-down will not work. This is what we need to maintain. And to make that model work, we, each of us, every stakeholder in this room, must realize that we are inherently interdependent. We are inherently interdependent. And to live in a world of interdependence, all of us must learn to be conciliatory. And conciliatory is the spirit of Africa. In fact, Madiba, the name of Nelson Mandela, means the conciliator. So as he lies struggling to stand up for his 95th birthday this Thursday, we ask Madiba and his spirit to help us, because that's what we're doing. We need that Madiba spirit, and we will maintain the legitimacy of this great organization. Thank you, and welcome to ICANN 47.